if you're not embarrassed by your first version you shipped too late. In AI, I would even go as far as to say, like, if your first version works, you're not thinking big enough. You should build for the future generations of the model so much, and the models are improving so rapidly that the current generation of models should barely support your vision, just barely. If you spend any time on Twitter, you feel like there is so much competition in AI agents. You feel like there is a new company coming out every week. And yet, when you're out in the market, like us, you don't run into competitors that often. So I sometimes compare it to, like, there's like trillions of stars in the universe. And yet, the universe is 99.9% empty space. It's the same, right? There's a lot of us, nominally, but somehow it feels empty. And I think because the market is just so enormously huge, these people have gone about their entire life hearing everyone tell them the reason why they couldn't do things. But actually, if you do it, you're going to be very, very successful. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to build something very impactful that's good for the world. It becomes addictive. It's like, tell me I can't do it. I'll show you I can. I'm Flo Crivello. I'm the CEO of Lindy, which is the world's easiest way to build AI agents with no code. Lindy is a setup of building blocks that you can put together to build your own AI agents and to get them to do anything. One big use case that we have is customer support. Step 1, customer support ticket arrives by email. Step 2, you can have a condition building block that basically branches off the agent. So you can be like, hey, is this a customer asking a question, or is it a customer asking for a refund? Step 3, for example, if they're asking a question, you can use our knowledge base building block, your FAQ, your website, a PDF, your Notion, whatever you want. Then you can ask Lindy, finally, step 4, to answer the support ticket based on the knowledge that is extracted in the knowledge base. We have quintupled in revenue over the last 6 months and roughly doubled the size of the team since then. I think it's Jeff Bezos who said something like, people always comment about how fast everything is always changing. Like, he likes to focus on what doesn't change, right? In a world where everything is always changing, he finds these pillars of stability to hang on to. And I think what doesn't change is the user, and a lot of preferences of the user are just immutable. So that really surprised us. We released the platform and we started to have quite a few users ask us for HIPAA compliance, which is this regulatory standard in the US that allows you to work with sensitive health information. So people started to be like, can you be HIPAA compliant? Can you be HIPAA compliant? I want to use Lindy for healthcare use cases. And we were like, why? Like, what do you want us to be HIPAA compliant for? And that's when we understood the use case, which is, turns out it's huge. And it's a big industry today. There's a lot of really big companies dedicated solely to this use case, where doctors spend a lot of time taking notes during patient visits. They call it charting because there's like a very specific standard of notes that they call SOAP notes. Some of them started building Lindy's to help them get their SOAP notes. So they use Lindy on their mobile phone and they recorded the conversation using the record feature that we have, and then they would prompt Lindy to give them the format of notes. In the case of AI agents, the user wants something that's easy to use, they want something that's effective, something that works, something that's simple to use, something that's affordable, something that's fast. These things are always going to be the case, and the problem that the user is trying to solve is fairly constant as well. LinkedIn's founder, Reid Hoffman, who said this famous thing, if you're not embarrassed by your first version, you shipped too late. In AI, I would even go as far as to say, like, if your first version works, you're not thinking big enough. You should build for the future generations of the model so much, and the models are improving so rapidly, that the current generation of models should barely support your vision, just barely. That was very much our case at Lindy. Like, for a long time, the product simply did not work because the models were not good enough. The very first version of the product was just a prompt. So instead of building this AI agent using these building blocks that I mentioned, it was literally just writing text. Because it's just a prompt, you're just trusting this AI model to basically follow your instructions. It may not follow the instructions. You're like praying the LLM gods. Even to this day, even to the frontier models, like fast forward 2 or 3 years, to this day, Cloud Opus 4 or OpenAI O3, I use the very most frontier models right now. Even they very often struggle. We are building for the next generation of models. The current product doesn't work, and yet we keep building because we expect that the next generation of models will make it work. And the way I characterize it today is it's sort of AI intern. It can perform simple enough tasks. Anything that you can describe in a step-by-step fashion is something that Lindy can do. Over the long term, the vision is to build a full-blown AI employee, an AI agent that can do anything that a human employee can do on a computer. So that's my piece of advice, is like, skate where the puck is going to be in Steve Jobs' words, and skate for where the next generation of models is going to be, and build with that in mind. don't build a mine until you've found gold. I really identified these two different distinct phases in a startup life cycle. One, you prospect, you look for the right mining site where you can find gold. And once you've struck gold, but only then do you build a mine. And building a mine is basically hiring a team and raising money and all of that stuff. It is really hard to move a mine. And so if you build too large a mine and you haven't found gold, what you need to do is you need to destroy your mine. You need to fire your team. So I started at Uber as a software engineer. I took a 6 month break after Uber. So COVID break out. Everybody was stuck at home. So I was just on my computer at home and I read a blog post by John Palmer called Spatial Interfaces, sort of extolling the virtues of spatial design. And there's almost a call to action in that blog post that's like, I wonder what a spatial zoom would look like. I was like, oh, that's a good question. Like, and I started like hacking it together. And in the span of a couple of hours, they just had like a prototype of like a spatial zoom. It's like you see your video in a bubble, you can move the bubble around on like a 2-dimensional canvas, and you can only hear and be heard by people around you. And again, this coincided perfectly with COVID. And so I started hosting virtual happy hours in there with my friends. Like, hey, join me in that space I built. And I sort of got sucked in little by little. I just kept adding features and I realized it could be like a collaboration space. I added a whiteboard and so forth. And then I realized like, oh my God, like everybody's working remotely right now. Like, this could be a virtual office. Like there is a market here. I released it. It got traction. Like a bunch of users started signing up, raised some money. And then like the company was just up to the races. When COVID subsided and when people returned to the office, team flow started not going so well and the growth stalled completely. What finally convinced me that there was simply no market anymore was like looking around and seeing all the competitors, of which we had many, like good teams, like really good people, and they had raised a lot of money and none of them were taking off. So that's when I just realized like there is no market. That's what I did. It was extremely painful, but I fired 2/3 of the team. And it coincided with the release of the GPT-3 API. So it was before ChatGPT. It was like mid-2022. And we built a meeting recorder in TeamFlow and we were very interested in the GPT-3 API. And so we were like, what can we do with it? So we did what now a lot of applications do, which is meeting summarization. And then the sales team came to me and they were like, Flo, can this thing also update our Salesforce after sales calls? And we were like, sure, I don't see why not. And so we basically kept building and kept fleshing out that like Salesforce integration and then HubSpot integration. And that's when it clicked for us. Like we realized like, wait a minute, we can get the LLM to not just generate text for us, but generate API calls, so like generate actual actions for us. And so that's when we were like, wait a minute, like this can be like an entire AI employee, basically. We got sucked into that. And again, it coincided with first TeamFlow stalling out. We got excited about this AI thing. ChatGPT came about in the middle, exploded, and we're like, oh my God, like AI is real, it's happening. And so we just decided in 2023 to completely fold TeamFlow and just focus on the AI opportunity. And I did that very deliberately, and it's painful as a founder. You need to deliberately mismanage your team. You need to let them alone and they're gonna hate you. They're like, where is our CEO? What's he doing all day? I'm looking for gold. Like the mind doesn't matter. The mind is so very mismanaged right now. And you guys are lost at sea, and I decide not to care because I'm going to spend my time digging for gold. That's what I learned. Don't build a mine before you found the gold. My leadership philosophy is the job of a CEO is to win. And so that's my guiding light. Epistemologically, that is how I will define what is right or wrong. Perhaps I would compare it to gardening. It starts with like selecting the seeds. So I really do believe like half the job is just recruiting, like getting the right people into the door. Like again, I think it's Keith Roboy who said, the people you hire is the company you build. And I'm reminded every day of how true that is. It's half the job. So just getting the right seeds. If you don't have that, the plant won't be good. And then giving a direction to the team and to the seed. Like that's the sun. You grow in this direction, So that's the second big part of the job. Is just setting the vision and guiding the plant as it grows. But you can't grow for the plant. The plant won't grow the way you want it to, so you've got to fire people. There's this amazing book by Bill Walsh called The School Takes Care of Itself, right? And so the philosophy of Bill Walsh is like success consists of just two things. One, identifying the right inputs that lead to success, and two, nailing each and every one of these inputs perfectly right. If you do these two things, you will win. If you don't win, it means you either don't understand what it takes to win or you're not doing what it takes to win. That's just one of these two things. And so it's actually funny, we onboarded a new employee this morning. He's the first one of his function. And I spent the day, yesterday, Sunday, like literally 7+ hours just writing an 18 pages long document about. This is precisely exactly, we call it a standard of excellence. Step by step by step, this is the job. Again, that's the plan. It's like if you see them doing something wrong, it's like, no, it's like your guard is like, no, this is not what you do. And you just keep putting these guardrails and you refer back to the doc that you wrote. Absolutely, you should micromanage. The reason why you are in a position of authority is because someone with capital, most likely, trusted you and your taste. So you are entitled, you are in fact obligated to micromanage. That's why you're in your seat. You exercise your taste, you exercise your judgment, you exercise your knowledge about your business, your industry, your user, your product, and you guide the plant. That's my philosophy. I view building a company as a way to bring an ambitious, bold vision to reality. I don't think the lean startup model leads you there. I'm a huge fan of Peter Thiel's thinking on this. He calls it definite optimism. It's like a 2x2. You've got a definite and indefinite, and optimism and pessimism. And so definite or indefinite is like, do you know or do you not know? There's a lot of indefinite optimists in tech. I view crypto as the eternal indefinite optimist industry. It's like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know why things are going to go well, but wag me, we're all going to make it. Everything's going to go so well, but we can't exactly tell you how. Instead, Peter Thiel pushes for this vision of a definite optimism. It's like you must have a crisp opinion, a well-defined opinion of what the world will look like in the future, what it should look like, what it must look like, and bring that vision to life. What % of your time did you spend in 2022 speaking to an AI? It was 0%. Today, in 2025, it's a lot more than that. And I think the trend is going to continue and continue and continue. AI agents are basically, in the short term, going to turn us all into managers. Instead of doing individual contributor work, you're going to manage a swarm of AI agents doing your work. I sometimes describe it as like, imagine if any random 25-year-old could have the same impact in the world as Google. And so I think that AI agents are going to do to the world of business at large what the internet has done to media. It's going to be a very powerful leveling of the playing field. It's going to unlock opportunity for everyone, regardless of their network or their capital or their access or their geography. It's just really going to come down to their vision and the ideas they have and their ability to leverage AI agents.